Hey guys, Shane here, Fugatech 3D printing. A lot to talk about. Let's get started on this week's vlog. So hey guys, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. A lot to talk about. But first off, I looked at subscribers on Facebook. We just went over 425, which is crazy. From what, 2 weeks ago we had 300. And that's when I did the giveaway. So 425, that's great. I'm going to try and plan something for 500. So let's keep it going, and I'm glad that so many people are enjoying the content. So first up, I did put in a pretty large order. Not large, I guess, but I put in for a bunch of stuff off of AliExpress because their stuff there is just cheap. You know, why not? And I needed some M3 lock nuts. So this is the first thing to come in, and mail's a little bit slow because Christmas time, a lot of people are getting mail. So I did get 100 pieces of the lock nuts so far, and these are for mainly when I'm making all these other parts. I'm working on spool holders and just other random upgrades that I'm doing for the printers. I need to have some hardware in order to, you know, to hook everything together. And I've been using the spare parts from the Geeetech and the FT5 and the D-Force Mini, but since I have already used most of them now, I need more. So I have that coming, and there's a bunch of other stuff coming in, so more on that when it gets here. So what have I been doing the past week? Prints, and more prints. Tons and tons of prints, lots of things going on. The maker box is done. That'll be coming up this weekend. I'll have that released. So I finished editing and printing all of that. Some really cool stuff and some not so much. So that'll be really interesting to see how you guys like that. And for other prints here, I'm getting ready for Christmas. So we know that's coming up. So the first thing I made was this tree. And as you can see, the top did not finish, sadly. It failed. So the bottom layers went down great, but then I came back about 2 hours later. I wait for the bottom layers pretty much to finish, and we started on the second bottom layer. So you know what, it's good, I'm gonna walk away. Came back about 2 hours later, and I don't know if you can tell, but it actually did a layer shift. There's a hole right here. It shifted probably a good, millimeter or two, I guess. So this side of the print didn't even print on the base, and this side there's, you know, like I guess called the element's foot, but there's about a millimeter of gap between the bottom layer and then where the print starts. So that sucked, but I mean, it wasn't a showstopper. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna let it go, let it finish up, just so I can get one of these done. As you can hear, this is no infill. And then this last 10% of the print totally failed. I don't know what happened. I'm going to go back in the time lapse and look and see what happened there, but I think just had poor adhesion, and when that first layer didn't go down, the rest just kept going and going and going. It didn't clog anything. Thankfully it didn't mess up the head, because I hate when filament just gets clogged up on the hot end, and ended up just actually printing it straight down in the middle. So I had a little bit here, I pulled it, all came out. But this is real cool. I mean, this tree model is pretty badass, I think. And this green, how about this green? This is pretty cool. This is Maker Geek's green PLA. And let me show you what it looks like when it has an infill. So actually, I'll take that back. This is Maker Geek's nuclear green PLA. So here's what it looks like, you know, when there's no infill. Here's what it looks like when it has infill. Now that I'm looking down my monitor, it looks really similar. But when I stand these side by side, you really can't tell. Man, that sucks. I don't know if you guys can tell, but the color difference is huge between a single perimeter and an infill. So obviously this is the lattice cube. This is not Angus's. This is just one I found on Thingiverse. Sadly, I'm not a patron of his yet. I need to become one to get some of his stuff and just see what he's doing. But yeah, so I downloaded this off Thingiverse. This is printed on my Geeetech and the Maker's PLA. I mean, it's practically perfect in every way. Mary Poppins reference for you guys. And yeah, I mean, a little bit of retraction settings, but this is fantastic. Came out, that Geeetech prints like awesome. But yeah, so this green is amazing for this tree. I'm going to reprint this probably after I finish this video, but just wanted you guys to see this. This is a lot of fun. Please print one. They're great for Christmas. I'll put the link down below. Next thing is this little tree topper. So this is the 8-bit Mario cube, and the only thing I have left to do is print the eyes. I plan on printing that tonight on either the Geeetech or the FT5. This was my second try at it. The first try on the Geeetech actually raised up too much, so that didn't work out. And on here, this one corner raised up a bit. I don't know if you can tell there. when the nozzle was moving at the end of the second or third layer, I think the second solid layer on the bottom, it peeled that up just a little bit. I was like, I don't really want to restart it, and it looked like it was staying down, but after print came off, it did peel up a little bit, but it's the back. You're not going to be able to tell. It sits on the tree like so. It's got a post right there for it. So it's pretty badass. I like this. And I actually will probably make some type of mount and put this on the FT5 afterwards, I think, because it just is too cool to put away after Christmas. Come on now. And finally, I found a different fan shroud for the Geeetech. So as you guys know, I like to do the time lapses, and I like you guys to be able to see what's actually being printed. And it's really hard to do that in the Geeetech because that fan nozzle is right in front of the nozzle. The fan shroud, I should say, is right in front of the nozzle. It's really hard to see the print. It's also hard for me when I'm sitting here because I have to kind of like cock my head and look down in it, and that just sucks. I found this one. So it's two parts. This part actually goes over the X carriage like so, and it actually sits on the back of the printer, the back of the carriage, and this one just mounts here like so, and it's adjustable because the guy that made this for all the way down is if you have a 50mm throat, and all the way up, all the way down 50mm, all the way up is for the 35mm hot end. So I'm hoping that this fits, otherwise I'm gonna have to remix this and just make this adjustment here further down, which I can probably do in SketchUp or Tinkercad real easily. But I test fit the fan, it fits great. Has two nozzles right here on each side that push air onto both sides of the print at the same time, which is really good, because if you guys don't know, if you're only pushing air from one side, only one side of that print will cool very well, the other side will not. So having it on both sides is better, more better, whatever. So yeah, I'm going to fit this on tonight and do some prints with it, and hopefully it works out well. The model is decent. This was printed itself on the Geeetech. There's a couple mods I found out there on Thingiverse to mod that to kind of get rid of a little more of the Z-banding. I'm going to reprint my anti-wobble stabilizers on the FT5 to get them nice and smooth and see if that helps at all. And there's a couple other upgrades to do, but I'm probably going to do just a separate video on upgrading that. And on the Geeetech, that cable chain is probably going to come off. So after trying to do a bunch of prints and trying to do more prints, I've noticed that it's actually more of a hindrance for me than a positive, which is really sucks. It looks really cool on there, but unless I redo it so that instead of going up and over or like around like so, that it was going to go out and around. So there is another model out there for that, but I just don't have time right now to remix it to fit the Geeetech. I think it's like a hick top or something like that. But I'm gonna have to take it off just because I'm losing like what 80mm of my build volume, and it's only like 180, so I only get like I think I get maybe 110 max Z height now, and that's just too short. So I'm gonna have to take that off for a while, rethink of something new, and then put a new one on at a later date. So more on that hopefully soon, but we'll see when I get around to it. Okay, now what I'm most excited about is the D-Force Mini by TriangleLab. I got it working. Hoorah! It is not using the MKS 1.5 board. It is using the extra Geeetech board that I bought a while back, the Slogo Uno. I have no idea how to say that, I'm sorry guys. But the type of ramps board for that. So I downloaded a vanilla version of Marlin that, I mean, completely stock, grabbed the Delta files and replaced the configuration and configuration advanced files, and then went through the tedious process of figuring out all of that on my own. I've never worked with the Delta. It literally is sorcery, no matter what anybody says, and you'll see it out there a lot. Deltas are sorcery. They absolutely are. It's crazy. So I finally got it to print. Then I had to worry about the bed leveling. Well, not even bed leveling. It's getting the nozzle level, because you don't level the bed, you level the nozzle to the bed. And then after you get it somewhat level, you're either going to have like a convex or concave shape that it's going to try and print, because you still have to adjust other settings, which is the smooth rod. So I'm going to do a whole video just on how to set up a Delta. I'm not the best at it, but I have a really good grasp. I found an excellent blog out there that described everything what to do, and with a little extra tweaking that I was able to figure out, and what I knew from a few other blogs that I found. I'll put a couple of those links down below. It was just great. It put me in the right direction. So after some more tweaking, we got it printing. So this is my very first print. Hard to tell, but it is I stopped it not that far into it. So this was supposed to be no infill, but it didn't do that. So it was 2 perimeters, 20% infill, 10% infill, and on the bottom, it's hard to tell, but only half of it, yeah, you can kind of see the line there. So this half stayed on nicely. This half was like raised up basically because it was printing concave at first, and I didn't have it fully adjusted properly. So I was like, okay, let's just stop this. We'll figure it out later. So I have the next model here. This is a 40 by 40 cube. No, it's not. It's like 30 by 30 by 40-ish. So once you actually get the Delta calibrated to print, then you have to calibrate the size, which again has to do with the smooth rod length. And even though you measure it, that's actually not the length. The length is an arbitrary number, but what you measure it physically as is a good starting point. Then you can go from there to actually get it to work. So I got this one to work, but we had a little bit, it was a little high in the middle. So I was like, okay, let's do a little bit more configuration, a little more tweaking, and we have the next model, which is this, which is an actual 40 by 40 by 40 millimeter cube, 1 perimeter, no infill, bottom layer was good. I'm getting a little bit of lifting on 2 of the corners. So I'm not sure how to counteract that, because I found a document, Joanne in the Fugatech group linked me a document that's in the Fugatech group files section, and that has different settings in it than what Marlin that I had. So I don't know if those are Repier settings, because it actually has you set the offset individually for each of the 3 towers, A, B, and C, with D being the center point. So I'm not sure exactly how to fix just that one part, but I have more configuration to do, more testing to do, and I did one more print just to see how it would do on a full print. So let's look at that. And here's the full print. This is going to be kind of hard to see. I'm not really going to zoom in for this. But the Z, the top layer, is not fully filled in. Well, hell, I'll zoom in. Okay, so you can see this okay. So there's the Z, the top not fully filled in. The sides, you can see it's a little bit woogly. There's Y, there's X. I'm off. This is a 20 by 20? Yeah, I think this is 20 by 20. Yeah, this is a 20 by 20 by 20 cube that has the X, Y, and Z on it, so you know which way it's going. So this is without a cooling fan. This is with infill, so it's a gobbly mess. But it prints. Yay! We have 3/4 of the battle done. Now getting nice prints, properly sized. We're off by about 1 millimeter each way. So I need to adjust the smooth rod length a little bit, and then I have to re-level all 3 points, and then re-level the center again, and then we should be good to go. So I'm going to make a few more adjustments on it over the next week and see how it goes. But hey, we have prints now. So yeah, now that it prints, I have a fully functional version of Marlin for this printer, which is great. So once I confirm that it works on the Ramps 1.5 board that they're going to send me the new one of, I will go ahead and send this version of Marlin back to TriangleLab and say, hey, might want to include this instead of Repier because this is better. At least it's better. I think I have no idea how Repier works. It's total mystery to me because I've never used it before, and I tried troubleshooting it. I couldn't figure it out. Marlin was much easier to read, or it's just because of the butchered version of Repier that they gave me. Either way, I'm going to send this back to them and say, hey, this might be a good thing to send people. Take a look at it, make your adjustments, and go forth. So we'll see what they say. And yes, I did say they're sending me a board. They did send me 2 separate packages. The second package does have the board in it. I have not received it yet. I barely got any mail this week. Obviously with just the one thing. So next week, hopefully more will come in and I can put this version of Marlin on there and adjust the stepper levels, and we should be good to go. And one other thing you'll notice, there's a power supply right here, a PC power supply to power the board. You can use PC power supplies, and thankfully on the Ramps board, it is the 4-pin connector that's on there, which is exactly the same as this 4-pin CPU power that's on one of the power supplies I had. So I have, hell, half dozen power supplies sitting around here, and this was just one that actually had that connection, so I was able to pop that right on there. And then without totally disassembling the printer, I cut off one of the, where the floppy is. Yeah, there's still floppy on it, so it tells you how old it is. I cut off a negative and a 12 volt line from that and pumped it in so that I could get everything else powered, just because I didn't want to re-terminate any of the connectors that are already terminated for the Ramps 1.5 board, just for the Slogo Uno. Again, I have no idea how to say that, but anyways, I got all that kind of jimmy rigged together, so it's working great. And I'm just so excited that it actually printed. Like, I didn't think it was going to be possible, but hey, all good stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. A little quick deal of what's going on, what's coming up, and how I'm working on projects. So appreciate you watching this. I appreciate the comments you guys have been leaving me. There's like more and more every day. I'm gonna have a hard time catching up on some of them, or just keeping up, I guess. But hey, the more the merrier. Having these conversations and talking with you guys is what I really wanted to do with this channel, and that's why I'm doing all this. So thank you guys for all of that. And with that being said, if you guys like this video, give a like. If you didn't, hit the dislike button, leave a comment down below. If you want to subscribe to my channel, there's a button down below for that, and there's a little bell icon. You can hit that and get an email anytime I upload a video. That way you can stay up to date with what's going on here on my channel. If you want to support the channel, you can do that many ways, one being Patreon. You can donate me $1 or more. I greatly appreciate anything. All proceeds go to supporting the channel and helping make it better. There are affiliate links down below for Amazon and Maker's Geeks. So Maker Geeks has a box now, so if you want to subscribe to that, that link is down below. Or if you just want to do some shopping there, do that as well. Everything comes back to help me here, and I can get more filament, which is kind of what I need now, because now that I'm burning through quite a bit of it, I'll need that. And there's also an Amazon link down there, so if you guys are doing your holiday shopping, please use that link. Thanks to all of you that have been using it. It's been great. I got my first gift card, so I ordered a couple things for the FT5. Thank you very much for that. It wasn't a lot, but hey, it's a start. And the more that everyone uses it, the more things that I can do to help out the channel. And I appreciate everything you guys do, even if it's just a view, a comment, a like. No matter what, you guys are excellent. You're great. You're awesome. Have a good day, and happy printing.